Boeing breaking news. An ICE agent kills a woman in Minneapolis. The city still on edge. Thank you for joining us at 5. I'm Dawn Hasbrook.
I'm Scott Schneider. We're going to have more on that breaking news in just a moment, but we want to begin with the weather. Chief Meteorologist Emily Walls, what a spectacular view of the city. Foggy for a lot of the day. How are we looking going forward?
Going forward, things look pretty good. So as you just saw from that beautiful camera shot, it almost looked like a postcard there. We have clear skies overhead. The fog that we started off today with, that is all lifted, and when we're all in pretty decent shape. Temperatures right now, we're sitting in the upper 30s to low 40s, way above average for this time of the year. Typically for this date of January, your average high temperature is around 32. So once again today, a lot of us were pretty close to 10, 15 degrees above that. Your evening planner, skies are going to stay clear. Temperatures are actually going to hold rather steady. I think we're right around 40 degrees for a lot of us that are still in the 40s for the next few hours. But for those of you in the far northwest, notice how your temperature is really not going to change all that much. Many of us are going to bottom out in the mid to upper 30s. And then tomorrow, it's going to get very warm. We're talking highs in the 50s, but it's coming along with rain, possibly even some storms. Those details coming up.
Back to that breaking news out of Minneapolis. An ICE officer shoots and kills a woman.
It happened during the Trump administration's latest immigration crackdown. Terrence Lee here. Terrence, federal officials are claiming self-defense.
Yeah, we're hearing very different versions of what happened, Dawn and Scott. The federal government and local officials tell totally different stories. We've got video of it. We're not showing the actual shooting, but warning, some of this is disturbing. The video and other clips and witnesses show an officer walking up to an SUV stopped in the middle of the road. He demands the driver open the door. He grabs the handle. The SUV starts moving forward. A different ICE officer is standing in front of it. He pulls his weapon and fires at least 2 shots into the SUV right away. He jumps back as the vehicle moves toward him. Minneapolis City Council says the woman who died was Renee Nicole Good. She was 37. Minnesota leaders say the shooting was a misuse of power.
So they are already trying to spin this as an action of self-defense. Having seen the video of myself, I want to tell everybody directly, this was an agent recklessly using power that resulted in somebody dying, getting killed.
We've been warning for weeks that the Trump administration's dangerous, sensationalized operations are a threat to our public safety, that someone was going to get hurt. Just yesterday, I said exactly that. What we're seeing is the consequences of governance designed to generate fear, headlines, and conflict. It's governing by reality TV. And today, that recklessness cost someone their life.
DHS Secretary Kristi Noem is telling a different story. She says the agents were stuck in the snow when it happened.
They were attempting to push out their vehicle, and a woman attacked them and those surrounding them and attempted to run them over and ram them with her vehicle. An officer of ours acted quickly and defensively shot to protect himself and the people around him. We're continuing to gather more information, but this goes to show the assaults that our ICE officers and our law enforcement are under every single day. These vehicle rammings are domestic acts of terrorism. We're working with the Department of Justice to prosecute them as such.
The president posted on Truth Social. He says the woman driving was, quote, very disorderly, obstructing and resisting, who then violently, willfully, and viciously ran over the ICE officers who seemed to have shot her in self-defense. He also said, quote, based on the attached clip, it is hard to believe he is alive but is now recovering in the hospital. The president later said incidents like this happen because the, quote, radical left is threatening, assaulting, and targeting officers and agents every day. Scott.
Well, meanwhile, Terrence, the Little Village community rallying today, sending a message to ICE and their agents.
They're calling for justice in the deadly Minneapolis shooting. Protesters will be gathering at the Little Village Arch tonight at 7, calling for accountability. They want to push ICE out of their communities in order to keep people safe.
But we cannot afford to be silent. We cannot afford to be lost. So for this moment, if you are like me, if you are heartbroken, if you are furious, if you feel helpless and don't know what to do, I'm telling you, come join us.
They say during these times, people need to lean on each other in the community for support. Something similar did happen in the Chicago area last year. You may remember immigration agents fatally shot a Mexican immigrant who Trump officials claimed was trying to evade arrest in Franklin Park. DHS claims Silverio Villegas Gonzalez drove his car at officers, dragging one of them before the officer feared for his life and opened fire. They also said he has serious injuries, but body cam footage later released showed that officer calling his injuries nothing major.
And it was back in November that a federal judge threw out charges against a woman from the Chicago area. A Customs and Border Protection agent shot Marimar Martinez. They claim she had rammed her car into his. The ruling from the judge coming hours after prosecutors moved to dismiss those charges.
Chicago's so-called SNAP curfew ordinance has new life. Chicago City Council members took action on the plan, even as the mayor said he is opposed.
Political reporter Paris Schutz joining us now to break down, Paris, today's vote.
Yeah, Dawn and Scott, the so-called SNAP curfew, although the sponsor calls it a time and place curfew, it has new life. The City Council Public Safety Committee voted 11-4 to pass this revised ordinance sponsored by 2nd Ward Alderman Brian Hopkins. Now, it would give the police superintendent the power to declare a curfew at any time, in any place, to stop a violent teen gathering, of which we've seen in places like the Loop that have turned deadly. But here is the catch. The superintendent has to consult with the mayor's office and give 12 hours notice before the curfew goes into effect. Mayor Johnson says he still doesn't quite understand why this is needed.
There's a 10 p.m. curfew that has been on the books for some time. I've never been opposed to that. Now, let me be absolutely clear. What I'm opposed to is giving unilateral control to one entity of government to make a determination in a snap notice that could be a violation to people's civil rights.
And the mayor notes the drop in violent crime. Murders are down more than 30%, but supporters of the ordinance say it's needed. So when police get intelligence that a gathering might take place, it might be large, it might turn violent, they have 12 hours to notify the public before instituting that curfew.
Should not be vetoed. This is a curfew, a teen curfew that we need for the longest time. We've seen a lot of teen takeovers happen in downtown and in other parts of the city. I think it's needed because it gives accountability to our young people that there's consequences, that if you're in downtown, and we want to make sure that these teens are, for their safety as well and for the safety of downtown, we need this teen curfew.
And also today, the Public Safety Committee delayed a related ordinance. This one would fine social media companies if they don't remove posts that could lead to violence, noting that these teen trends tend to bubble up on social media, and the police actively monitor those accounts for intelligence. Now, the curfew bill is successful. It moves to the full City Council now for a vote. Scott?
All right, Paris, thank you for that. We're learning new details tonight in the search for missing Chicago public school teacher Linda Brown.
Leslie Moreno has been following this closely. What is the family saying tonight, Leslie?
Hey guys, good evening. And the husband says Linda's vehicle, that blue Honda Civic, has been found. We did reach out to Chicago police. They couldn't confirm that information. The family, however, says the location where that vehicle was found is not being released at this time because police are actively searching that area. If you look at your screen there, that blue Honda Civic is similar to the one police believe she was driving. 53-year-old Linda Brown, a CPS special ed teacher, has been missing since Saturday afternoon. She was last seen in the 4500 block of MLK Jr. Drive in Bronzeville. Her husband says they watched a movie on Friday night. She went to bed early. When he woke up, he says she was already gone. Her husband says she had an acupuncture appointment that she missed on Saturday morning. After messages and calls went unanswered, family finally reported her missing. Family says she has a history of mental illness but has never gone missing before. Police have not released any new details about the investigation and have not confirmed any developments surrounding the vehicle her family says was located. Her husband, however, continues urging the public for help.
We watched the movie Friday night, and she went to bed before I did. I stayed up a little later. She was in the bed when I went to bed. When I woke up at 8:35, she was gone.
Did she take anything?
She didn't take anything. She took her purse, credit cards, but I'm thinking she was at acupuncture. If you watching this, please come home. Your family is missing you. I'm missing you. Your friends are missing you. Linda, we need you to come home, baby. Seriously. We need you to come home.
What remains unclear right now is the condition that her vehicle was found in and whether Linda was found inside that vehicle. We are in close contact with family. We'll, of course, bring you any updates both on air and online. For now, reporting live here in Bridgeport, Les Marino, Fox Chicago.
Just days after the Chicago School Board voted to raise property taxes, a scathing report from the CPS Inspector General finds massive fraud inside CPS, including $1 million in fines. Chicago Public Schools has agreed to pay the government after admitting to submitting fraudulent grant applications involving student enrollment data. The report also highlighting a former CPS principal who left to run a charter school in Indiana, but not before defrauding the district out of nearly $89,000 in a phony billing scheme. In total, the Inspector General's office received more than 1,200 complaints.
With a district of this size, with a budget of this size, history has shown there's plenty of opportunities for abuse and wrongdoing, and that's why it's important that we work these cases.
The Inspector General's report also found a special education teacher with CPS was operating an OnlyFans page that included explicit videos and photographs of herself, some of which were reportedly taken inside her school's bathroom.
Still ahead on the news at 5, Roblox is being sued after a man in Chicago says his son was groomed and sexually exploited.
Also tonight, a warning from Mayor Johnson. Chicago's new budget could lead to layoffs.
Boeing is going on trial here in Chicago on Monday. I'm Brett Bagaski outside the Dirksen Federal Building. Coming up, we're going to show you one family says this trial is their one opportunity at justice and accountability.
Stream Good Day Chicago on your
President Trump has announced his first oil deal in a post-Maduro Venezuela, and he says it involves the country turning over millions of barrels of oil to the U.S.
Meanwhile, earlier today, the Trump administration announced it seized 2 more oil tankers linked to Venezuela.
Chelsea Torres is live in Miami. What do we know about the capture of the oil tankers?
Sure, Don. Scott, DHS Secretary Kristi Noem says that both tankers were actually part of a, quote, ghost fleet that was carrying sanctioned oil. The U.S. Coast Guard as well as Navy SEALs were actually using part of the operations in seizing both of these tankers. I want to show you video of one of those seizures given to us from the U.S. Southern Command, who oversee U.S. military operations in Latin America and the Caribbean. Here you can see a helicopter circling the tanker named Sophia and then hovering just above its deck. Sophia was seized in the Caribbean before dawn this morning, and right now the Coast Guard is escorting the ship here to the U.S. Secretary Noem also posted this video of the other tanker seized in between Iceland and Great Britain by Navy SEALs. This ship is named Bella 1. The U.S. has been after this tanker actually for weeks, and officials even say the ship changed its flag and painted a new name on the side to make it look like a Russian vessel. Attorney General Pam Bondi says it was responsible for transporting oil from Venezuela and Iran. Meanwhile, Secretary of State Marco Rubio is also talking about the administration's plans to stabilize Venezuela and ultimately take control of the country's oil. Today, Rubio met with lawmakers about the Trump administration's plans to sell the Venezuelan oil as soon as possible.
We are going to take between 30 and 50 million barrels of oil. We're going to sell it in the marketplace at market rates, not at the discounts Venezuela was getting. That money will then be handled in such a way that we will control how it is dispersed in a way that benefits the Venezuelan people, not corruption, not the regime.
And the Secretary of State even stressed today that this oil deal with Venezuela will not cost additional money and will not cost any taxpayer dollars. In Miami, Chelsea Torres, Fox 32, Chicago.
Well, the war of words over Greenland only heating up. However, a growing number of lawmakers on Capitol Hill say any military moves could be a non-starter. President Trump renewing his push to take over the Danish territory after capturing Maduro. Earlier this week, Danish officials warned that an attack on Greenland will mean the end of NATO. However, the White House responded by refusing to rule out military action. Now Republicans in Congress are signaling they will not support any attempt to take the territory by force, some going so far as claiming an attack on Greenland without congressional approval would be illegal.
Stuff about military action and all that, I don't think it's I don't even think that's a possibility.
It's one, not a president threat, and so they have duly elected president, so he doesn't have the authority without Congress.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio is set to meet with his Danish counterpart next week in an effort to de-escalate tensions.
There is an upcoming civil trial against Boeing here in Chicago for the fatal plane crash in Ethiopia that killed hundreds of people.
You may remember Boeing took a plea deal back in 2024 admitting to defrauding the federal government.
Brett Pagansky is live outside the Dirksen Federal Building. You spoke with one of the attorneys representing the family in this case, Brett.
I sure did, and this family is on their way to Chicago as we speak, getting ready to go to trial against Boeing. And we found out they lost 3 generations of their family members in this one plane crash from 2019. And the lawyer who I spoke to earlier tonight said this is about justice and accountability. So this plane crash that we're talking about happened in Ethiopia on March 10th, 2019. Everyone who was on board that plane did not survive. So Clifford Law here in Chicago is representing Minot Veja, who filed a federal lawsuit against Boeing for the deaths of his mother, father, and sister who were passengers on that Boeing 737 MAX plane that crashed shortly after takeoff in Ethiopia. They were living in Canada at the time and were traveling during spring break to visit family and friends. So everyone on board died on that flight, including 3 of Veja's nieces and nephew, one as young as just 9 months old. So the children are not part of this lawsuit. But since Boeing already pleaded guilty to defrauding the FAA and paid billions of dollars in fines, the family's lawyer, Robert Clifford, told me the case is now about how much money the jury will end up awarding this family, who will never be the same.
The weight of this loss is on him every day. There is a part of him that is looking forward to the trial, looking forward to it coming to an end. The court allows us to tell the jury that this crash was preventable, it was avoidable, and it was senseless. And Boeing stumbles over itself to say how sorry they are, but they never once will acknowledge what they're sorry about.
So earlier tonight, I reached out to Boeing for comment about this civil trial. I still am waiting to hear back. Meanwhile, Clifford told me that he expects the jury selection to start at 8:30 a.m. on Monday, and he expects that opening statements in the civil trial could start as soon as Tuesday. We are live outside the Dirksen Federal Building tonight. Brett Pagansky, Fox Chicago.
City workers in Chicago could be facing layoffs later this year. At least that's what Mayor Johnson is warning. It has to do with his new budget. The mayor neither signed it nor did he veto it. Today, he warned that the city's revenue shortfalls are still looming.
I'm bracing for what could be mid-year layoffs, right? We warn people. I think that there are some projections there that are inflated, and we'll have to continue to work with City Council, and we will, right? I'm going to continue to work with City Council to find ways in which everything can match, the expenses as well as the expenditures.
Now, he did not provide any specific numbers as to potential job cuts. We also learned today that Chicago's chief financial officer, Jill Jaworski, is stepping down. She'll become CFO of the organization that runs Navy Pier.
Let's check in on our forecast with Chief Meteorologist Emily Walls as we take a live look outside. Tell us about those temps.
Well, it's gorgeous out there right now. We have temperatures that are in the 30s and 40s, and that's about where we're going to stay throughout the next few hours. Tomorrow morning, a lot of us are going to be waking up very mild in the upper 30s to low 40s, but tomorrow afternoon, that's when we have rain moving through, some thunderstorms going to be possible, heavy downpours, and some of those storms may actually bring some pretty gusty winds. So that's what we're looking out for late tomorrow. Friday, the showers coming to an end, but still very warm, 55 in the morning. Then we drop to near 40 degrees for that big game on Saturday. We're going to have a mix of rain and snow showers. Back to you.
Happening right now, DHS Secretary Kristi Noem and other officials are speaking about today's deadly ICE shooting in Minneapolis.
Yes, an ICE agent fatally shot a woman. Let's listen in.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here tonight. I want to start out by addressing the loss of life that we saw here in Minneapolis today. Any loss of life is a tragedy, and I think all of us can agree that in this situation it was preventable. I've spoken to the president today on the situation here on the ground. I also just got off the phone a little while ago with Governor Walz and spoke to him as well. I want to reiterate first with all of you the facts of what happened today. At 10:25 a.m. Central Time, Immigration and Customs Enforcement were carrying out lawful operations here in Minneapolis. Because of the adverse weather that Minneapolis has seen in recent snow, one of the vehicles became stuck and ensnared in the snow. Law enforcement were attempting to push out this vehicle, and when a mob of agitators that were harassing them all day began blocking them in, shouting at them, and impeding law enforcement operations. ICE officers and agents approached the vehicle of the individual in question, who was blocking the officers in with her vehicle, and she had been stalking and impeding their work all throughout the day. ICE agents repeatedly ordered her to get out of the car and to stop obstructing law enforcement, but she refused to obey their commands. She then proceeded to weaponize her vehicle, and she attempted to run a law enforcement officer over. This appears as an attempt to kill or to cause bodily harm to agents, an act of domestic terrorism. The ICE officer, fearing for his life and the other officers around him and the safety of the public, fired defensive shots. He used his training to save his own life and that of his colleagues. He was treated at a local hospital, has been released, and is now with family. I encourage the American people at this point in time to pray for him, but also to pray for the deceased's family and her loved ones. Today alone in this country, there have been 4 different domestic terrorist attacks on federal officers by the ramming of vehicles. 3 of them happened here in Minneapolis. We've seen over 100 of these vehicle rammings happen in just recent weeks, and this must stop. ICE alone is facing a 1,300% increase in assaults against them and an 8,000% increase in death threats against all of them. In fact, the very same officer who was attacked today had previously been dragged by an anti-ICE rioter who had rammed him with a car and drug him back in June. He sustained injuries at that time as well. And let me remind you why we're all here in this city today and why we've been here. In communities across this country and here in Minneapolis, we're just enforcing the laws that we have in this country. For years under President Biden, tens of millions of dangerous criminal illegal aliens, terrorists, and suspected terrorists were allowed to invade our country over our southern border. They were allowed to steal, to defraud, and to perpetuate violence against American citizens. Regardless of who your mayor or who your governor is, President Trump promised every single American that he would make America safe again. He promised every single American that he would work.
Of course, you're hearing reaction to this as well. We'll keep you updated tonight at 9. We'll be right back.
The Masked Singer.
For Nick Rayner has been postponed again.
His defense attorney has asked to be replaced. That happened this morning. Reiner retaining a high-profile defense attorney by the name of Alan Jackson after being arrested and charged with the murder of his father, Rob Reiner, and his wife, Michelle. A public defender will now represent Reiner. The judge has agreed to push his arraignment to February.
Testimony in the trial for former Uvalde school police officer is now paused. Jurors were told not to come to the courtroom today after the defense said prosecutors withheld evidence. The judge overseeing the trial met with lawyers to address legal matters surrounding problematic testimony given yesterday.
One of New York's most infamous serial killers has confessed to yet another murder. Richard Cunningham, known as the Torso Killer, has admitted to killing Elise Eberhardt way back in 1965. Police in New Jersey apparently say he will not face any more charges because the 79-year-old is currently serving 3 life sentences, all in connection to other crimes.
A Michigan couple going viral over a blunder made during a marriage proposal. Take a look.
And when I went to go get the ring out of the box, I looked down, like, not a good idea. And, yeah, I dropped the ring.
No good. Trevor wanted the perfect winter proposal, so he took his girlfriend Danielle to a sky bridge at a mountain resort. But when he got down on one knee, he dropped the ring through the bridge's metal grating. Can you imagine? It fell 118 feet into the snow below. The couple looked for a few hours with a metal detector they borrowed from the resort's night shift snow-making supervisor. Well, they had no luck. But the resort worker jumped in, searched for about 20 or 30 minutes, and found it. And by the way, she said yes.
Dog on the loose tonight made his escape from a shelter in West Virginia. Didn't just unlock one door, but 2. Here's the surveillance cameras. This is Dawson, quite the escape artist. Got out of his kennel first, then somehow unlocked the door to the shelter itself. As a volunteer at a shelter, I can tell you this does happen on occasion. he needs a loving home to go to and not life on the streets. Hopefully they find this good boy.
Remember the 88-year-old veteran in Michigan who got nearly $2 million from strangers around the world? Well, today, Ed Bambus is officially retired. The veteran had been working at a Meijer for years to make ends meet after losing his wife and pension. A TikTok influencer posted Ed's story online and set up a GoFundMe, raising more than enough money to help Ed retire.
I appreciate it. I can't thank everyone in person like I would like to, but I'm thanking everyone by video. You've been very kind and blessed my life with something I never thought was possible.
Ed says that he's finished working. He plans now to go fishing, hunting, and play more golf. He also wants to help his son finish construction projects and visit his brother, who is battling cancer.
All of that story. Still ahead of the news at 5, the Trump administration releasing new dietary guidelines.
We're breaking down what's being recommended and what you're being urged to avoid.
I'm Cassie Carlson. The Bears are managing emotions as they get ready to host the Green Bay Packers and leaning on veterans with playoff experience. Later in sports, find out what four-time Super Bowl champion Joe Thuney sees from this team that leads him to believe they can go on a playoff run.
Now at the bottom of the hour, the popular Roblox platform at the center of a new lawsuit filed by a Cook County father.
This warmer weather not going anywhere anytime soon. Sadly, it's not all sunshine.
First, we're learning new details about that deadly shooting in the South Loop back in September. A young mother was killed.
Cordesia Holly Johnson is accused of shooting Romika Blackman. Johnson says this was self-defense.
After new charges were filed last week, Johnson was back in court today. Tia Ewing is here now with more on what happened.
A lot happened and a lot of court documents to go over, 20 pages. In fact, we already reported on the murder charge, but now there are 5 more charges. This court document filed just this week lays out the defense's argument for why bond consideration should be granted to the 31-year-old pregnant mom. The motion argues that the responsibility to prove the case lies entirely with prosecutors. The defense says the state has not met that burden, pointing out that Johnson has no prior criminal history. She had a license to carry a firearm. Still, the state has said that victim Romika Blackman did not have a gun and did not pose a threat. Now let's go through some of the pages of this motion. The first few pages outlines why Johnson is claiming self-defense, saying she was protecting herself and her 6-month-old child that was in the car at the time when Blackman, quote, ran up and swung. According to the filing, Blackman repeatedly threatened Johnson through phone calls and text messages. The threats escalated to the point allegedly that Blackman told Johnson's grandmother she intended to kill her. At the time, Johnson Johnson was pregnant and, according to her attorney, feared for her life and the safety of her unborn child. They also say an order of protection was granted months before the shooting, though we found one that was never delivered. Now, on the morning of the shooting, that was September 8th of last year, Johnson was being driven back to her car by her child's father when black men unexpectedly arrived. Both women have children by the same man. Now, keep in mind, Blackman was in that area because she had just dropped off her son. The motion goes on to claim that Blackman allegedly blocked Johnson's vehicle, approached her aggressively and said, quote, "I told y'all I was going to catch you." The defense also points out there is no video that captured this shooting and that multiple witnesses gave conflicting statements. In one case, attorneys questioned the credibility of a key witness who was wearing noise-canceling headphones at the time of the shooting. Now, Johnson's attorneys are asking for her release under home supervision or electronic monitoring. The 31-year-old pregnant mom remains in custody and is back in court tomorrow at 9 in the morning. Of course, this is a story we will continue to follow. Terrence?
Well, you know Roblox, tons of kids play it. It's the game where you build blocks of virtual worlds, you block out reality and unblock your imagination. But a dad in Cook County says parents need to block it. He just filed a lawsuit. His 9-year-old son got groomed and sexually exploited through the game. That's what the dad says. He let his kid play because Roblox promised strong safety protections. The lawsuit says those protections failed. Here's what went down. A predator contacted the boy, pretended to be another kid, built trust over time. They convinced the boy to send illicit photos, explicit photos. The lawsuit asks for money, doesn't say how much, though.
No amount of money can ever change what's happened. When a child's innocence is taken away, it's the one thing that can never be brought back. But of course, that's our goal, is for some sort of monetary compensation for the family, and family's goal, as well as our own here at the firm, is to really cause some institutional change within Roblox, to make Roblox a safer platform for children and to make it purely that safe gaming platform that it's meant to be.
Roblox sent us this statement. They said they're deeply troubled by any incident that endangers any user. The company says it wants to set the bar for online safety, which is why they claim their policies are purposely stricter than those found on many other platforms. Roblox goes on to say they limit chat for younger kids. They do not allow image sharing. They filter out personal information. But Roblox admits no system is perfect, but they say they're always working on making their safety tools a bit better. Scott.
All right, Terrence, thank you for that. Well, the calendar says early January. Tomorrow is going to feel a lot like early April, Emily.
That's right. We're actually tracking temperatures warming into the 50s tomorrow. So many of us are actually going to come in about 20 to 25 degrees above average for this time of the year, because your average sits right around 32. Although this is coming along with rain, even a couple thunderstorms tomorrow afternoon and evening. And our high temperatures tomorrow, they're actually set to be set after the sun goes down. And then your high temperatures for Friday going to be set at midnight before we drop to about 40 during the day. But again, several precipitation chances here over the next couple of days. And by Saturday, it looks like it's going to be a rain-snow mixture. We could be dealing with that going into the Bears-Packers game for kickoff shortly after 7 p.m. Right now, 41 degrees. We have clear skies, 6-mile-per-hour winds. Tonight, 38. We're going to have south-southwesterly winds, 5 to 10 miles per hour. 3-day forecast tomorrow, 56. Again, that's during the evening. We're going to have rain, couple thunderstorms, gusty thunderstorms possible too. On Friday, maybe a lingering shower or two. Most of us end up drying out before rain and snow comes our way on Saturday. We'll be right back.
Fox.
Meat eaters rejoice because the Trump administration has flipped the food pyramid upside down.
For the first time ever, the new dietary guidelines address ultra-processed food.
Yeah, these guidelines advise people cut back on what Dawn just mentioned, those ultra-processed foods, while urging people to, yes, eat more red meat, eat more healthy fats. This reverses the course on past guidance related to healthy fats found in meats, eggs, and full-fat dairy. Officials say these guidelines are meant to be customized to address preferences and financial needs.
Recent data show that fruits, vegetables, dairy, and proteins, including eggs, pork, and ground beef, are becoming even more affordable every day.
Trump administration plans to include these recommendations in school lunch requirements. That, though, could take years.
New rules for SNAP recipients in Illinois are going into effect next month. And now recipients ages 18 to 64 must work or volunteer about 80 hours to qualify for benefits. There will be some exceptions to the rule, including people with disabilities or caregiving responsibilities. People who do not meet the new requirements will only be eligible to receive 3 months of benefits in a 3-year period. And today is the start of a new task force in Cook County, the Violence Against Women Task Force. Leaders from city, county, and state governments will address the rise in victimizations and murder rates of women and children. It was created by Alderman Silvana Tabares of the 23rd Ward and Cook County Commissioner Donna Miller, who's running for Congresswoman Robin Kelly's seat, who's running for Senate. They are working with the Chicago Crime Lab, Chicago 77 Charities, Impact Partners, the Public Policy Lab, and the All In Coalition.
Sometimes it's not just a domestic partner. So stalking no contact is one of the things that's high on my list as well. Data and research is the next one. Court systems and programming, first responder safety and health, training and policies, and path for survivorhood.
The next meeting is February 4th. The CDC last reported in 2022 that death by a spouse or intimate partner in Illinois was more per capita than the states of California and New York combined.
Will certainly warm out today, although Emily just told us we could be near the 60s later this week.
We could also see some rain. Emily has more in her full forecast after the break.
I'm Lou Canellis. Hey, Bears are the hottest ticket in town, right? We'll have a report from Hallis Hall as they get ready for the Packers. But the big sports story today comes from baseball. Cubs making a trade to upgrade their starting rotation. But after giving up their top prospect, where will the Cubs' next big bat come from? Comes your way next in sports.
Fox Local, your
All right, let's check our forecast. So you said there's some rain, but the temps look pretty good, huh?
Temps look fantastic. It's not going to be feeling like January at all in the next couple of days. We have temperatures that are going to be soaring into the 50s tomorrow, and then probably same thing technically speaking on Friday. But those high temperatures on Friday are going to be set at midnight. Then we're going to drop back to reality. So your highs today ranging everywhere from the upper 30s in DeKalb and Woodstock down to up to 50 degrees down in Kankakee. So we had that wide range of temperatures, and that's still about where we're at even at this hour, ranging from mid-30s to mid-40s. It's very nice outside. We do have southeasterly winds currently. For a lot of us, about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Occasionally, we're seeing those winds gusting as high as about 15 miles per hour, so that's enough to send wind chill temperatures down by about 5 to 7 degrees for a lot of us. Your 5-day forecast here, 50s in your forecast tomorrow. But the catch is that high of 56 degrees, I think that's going to be in the evening after the sun goes down. So we're still going to be a little on the cooler side of things. A lot of us going to spend the daytime hours in the 40s, but then temperatures are going to continue to rise during the evening, and then they're going to begin to drop off in the early morning hours of Friday. So that high of 55 degrees that you see on Friday, that's actually going to be right around midnight, and most of the daytime hours are going to be in the 40s. We're near 40 degrees for your high on Saturday, Sunday, back down to about 32, which, by the way, is where we should be for this time of the year. Satellite and radar, things are quiet. We have a couple higher level clouds, but that's really about all. Most of us are under mostly clear skies. Futurecast rolling us throughout this evening into tonight. We're going to be under mostly clear to partly cloudy conditions when we wake up tomorrow morning. We have that southerly wind flow. So your temperatures tonight, we're only dropping down to the upper 30s to low 40s. So we're getting a jump start to that warmth tomorrow. Here comes a warm front, but it's bringing along quite a bit of rain as well. So we're going to have rain, heavy downpours certainly going to be possible. When you leave your place tomorrow morning, make sure you're taking the umbrellas with you, because again, we're going to see at least a little bit of sunshine to get the day started on Thursday, but it should change in a pretty drastic way throughout the daytime. So rain arrives afternoon, and then that's going to last into the evening. Heavy downpours, even a couple gusty thunderstorms going to be possible, especially south and east of 57. And then looking forward to Friday morning, we have that cold front coming through, falling temperatures through the day, and I think we are going to end our work week probably seeing at least a peak of sun late Friday. Your Bears forecast, this is for Saturday's game, 30 degrees at kickoff. We're going to have a little bit of rain and snow around, likely changing over to all snow if we still have precipitation around, but temperatures going to be chilly, so a very winter-like game for us on Saturday. Temperatures dropping down to the mid-20s. Tonight, 38 degrees, your 7-day forecast. Tomorrow, 56, 55 on Friday. Saturday, rain to snow. We'll dry things out on Sunday, then Monday and Tuesday, we are mild. Back to you guys.
She just mentioned the Bears game. It's fast approaching, but today they've been upstaged as the lead story in sports.
The Cubs making a surprising trade. Lucan Ellis is here with more.
Yeah, timing of this a little surprising, as you said, Dawn. How about this? Cubs pushing the Bears aside with big news, pulling off a major trade, as the guys just said, picking up an impact arm for their starting rotation, and doing so at the expense of giving up their top hitting prospect. Cubs picked up right-hander Edward, that is, Cabrera from the Marlins for Owen Casey and 2 prospects. Cabrera posted a career-best .353 earned run average last season, along with career highs in starts, innings, and strikeouts. He's under team control for the next 3 seasons. That's good news. Great addition to the starting rotation for the Cubs. Now, Owen Casey was the Cubs' #1 prospect, played in 12 Major League games last year. Second straight offseason, the Cubs traded away their top prospect. Last year, they sent Cam Smith to Houston as part of the Kyle Tucker deal. Many felt Casey's bat would replace Kyle Tucker in the Cubs lineup. Cubs now need a big bat. Maybe Tucker's not finding the big contract, and he comes back. We'll find out. Cubs might also be game planning a way to sign Bo Bichette, Alex Bregman, or maybe bring back Cody Bellinger. All right, Bears-Packers Saturday. Man, it's a hot ticket. Most expensive NFL wildcard game ever, with an average ticket price of over $800. Right now, over $2,000 in the United Club. Bears on a 2-game skid. Packers, 3rd team the last 39 years to go into the playoffs on a 4-game losing streak. And the previous 2 teams lost their playoff opener. I love to hear that. Cassie Carlson has today's update from Alice Hall.
Making it to the playoffs is one thing, but meeting your rival in the wild card round and for the third time in 6 weeks is another, as the Bears are managing their emotions as they get ready to host the Green Bay Packers Saturday night and leaning on veterans with playoff experience.
Everything's just like a little bit bigger, a little bit more media, a little bit more, people talking about it before the game. And then, when the game comes, it's, there's kind of that buzz, on the field, and the stand's a little more full.
Joe Tooney knows a thing or two about postseason success. The left guard has played in 22 playoff games and won 4 Super Bowls, saying the selflessness of the team is a trait that can take them far.
What matters is that we want to win. It doesn't matter how we win, what it looks like. It's just offense, defense, special teams, we're a whole unit going after them. And, each game's different, but I think everyone just wants to play for each other.
I think there's been one season that he's been in the league that he hasn't won his division. So it's a guy that's been in multiple successful organizations that knows what winning looks like.
For the players who haven't been to the playoffs, the feeling of the week is entirely new and one they're trying to manage.
You can tell guys are laser focused, talking, communicating, being detailed, and in practice, the energy is going up.
Mentally, I know we're ready. I know physically it's something that we're going to see on Sunday. It's one thing to talk about it, but we got to go out there and execute and be about it. So that's all we're focused on right now.
Meeting Green Bay for a third time adds another level, defensively knowing they can't give up explosives against Jordan Love. Dennis Allen saying the plan is to have Kyler Gordon be part of their game plan as he works back off IR.
You want as many high-level players that you can get. We know he is one of those guys. So for us, if that's something that he can do, we'll definitely be looking forward to getting him back.
That's Spider-Man. He it is. I mean, he could blitz, he could do whatever, he could cover. And we got a lot of energy and passion, especially when me and him's on the field. It's dangerous.
He can help us make some plays and help us win.
Rome Odunze says he plans on playing Saturday night after missing 5 games. Jade Walker did not practice with an illness, and C.J. Gardner-Johnson remains in concussion protocol. At Hallis Hall, Cassie Carlson, Fox Chicago Sports.
Thanks, Cassie. Fox Chicago's your spot for the Bears-Packers game Saturday. Coverage kicks off with Bears Game Day Live at 12:30. NFL doubleheader begins at 3:30. Rams-Panthers first. Then the kickoff of the Bears and Packers game, 7:10, moved from 7:05 to 7:10 today. After the game, we'll have Caleb Williams, Ben Johnson, and plenty of locker room reaction. Bears conversation continues on Chicago Sports Tonight. Cassie and Dan Weeder of The Athletic join me with more from Hallis Hall, and we'll dig deeper into that Cubs trade with the Scorer's host of Hit and Run, Matt Spiegel. Chicago Sports Tonight, always on the Fox local app at 6 and 9:30 here on Fox Chicago. Blackhawks face the Blues tonight. Connor Bedard won't play in the first meeting with the Blues since he was injured in St. Louis. Hawks say they won't retaliate either. Bedard could be back, though, over the weekend. That's good news. Bulls back on the court tonight, and they'll play the Eastern Conference leading Pistons. Scott.
All right. Thank you, sir. Emily's back with a final check of the forecast when we come back.
Sponsored by 4C.
Okay, do you look like Ben Johnson? If so, this is your time to shine.
The Village of Bedford Park hosting a look-alike contest. It's tomorrow at the Wintrust Sports Complex on 65th Street. Anyone who looks like the head coach, no matter what age, is invited to compete. And there are prizes. Here's what's up for grabs. First place wins a $1,000 Visa gift card and free car washes from Gas and Wash for a year. Second place, you get a $500 gift card and free pizza for a year from Moretti's. Third place, you get a $300 gift card. Everything gets started tomorrow at 5.
Nice.
And there will be free food. Again, Wintrust Sports Complex. That's fun.
It makes me want to cut my hair and try to be Ben Johnson.
With the shirt on or with it off?
That bump may
Oh, yeah, good point.
hurt your chances.
Throw it off a little bit. Yeah. All right, let's take a look at the 7-day forecast. We have 50s tomorrow, same thing on Friday, but that is coming with a little bit of a catch. So we have rain in your forecast for Thursday afternoon and evening. Couple thunderstorms going to be possible as well, heavy downpours. That 56 degrees, that's going to occur after sunset, and that high of 55 on Friday, I think, is going to be at midnight. So your daytime temps on Friday, we're only in the 40s, and then we're near 40 degrees on Saturday. For the game on Saturday, you know, Lou's really been pressing me on this. I'm trying to get the precipitation out of here, but as of now, it looks like we could have kind of a rain-snow mixture, but I do think by 7, it should be mainly snow.
Oh, I love it.
Thanks for joining us at 5.
Now you can stream us on your smart TV with Fox Local.
We're on all the streaming platforms.
We'll see you tonight at 9.
If this is